Hello, everybody. Just here to talk about some NFL stuff as well as the start of the Major League Baseball season. And water bottle in the way. Um, also, just test how things are sounding out. Want to make sure that my volume levels are fine for Google Hangouts, as well as make sure volume will be fine for the radio when I do the radio stuff. So let's see how things are going. Uh, Also, as you can see, a new mic stand, just trying things out. Audio sounds fine on there. So back into plugging into live here. Get rid of the one viewer. All right, no viewers now. Okay. So what I'm doing is just trying some things out here, trying some different setups. But I thought I'd talk about some of the new NFL rules and whatnot. And one of the big rules here is the no more targeting, or basically leading with your helmet to instigate a hit. The way it the way it is supposed to work is prevent the helmet to helmet hits. And basically what happened to Ryan Shazier last year. Yeah, Ryan Shazier, the Pittsburgh Steeler defender that hit an opponent very hard and ended up hurting himself, is set. So basically, if you lower your head to instigate a hit, the way I'm reading it is it's supposed to be. Here it goes. Playing rule Article 8. If it is a foul if a player lowers his head to initiate and make contact with his helmet against an opponent, that player may be disqualified. This applies to any player anywhere on the field. The player may be disqualified. So, again, what does it mean? It basically means that the NFL is trying to crack down on big hits. And I understand why, player safety and all. At the same time, you're not going to be able to police this all the time. You're not going to be able to catch this all the time. Now, to kind of help with that, they've also tried to instigate basically another official that can basically call down to the refs and eject somebody else. I believe it's the New York can do that. If somebody's penalized, that would warrant a flagrant foul. We're gonna go through them one by one here. The new catch rule. We've all heard the debate. The Calvin Johnson rule, the Dez caught it, then survive the ground became a common phrase in 2017, especially after Jesse James's touchdown reception was ruled a non-catch despite having crossed the goal line. The owners unanimously passed the competition committee proposal, which aims to simplify the language. And this is a Twitter quote from Al Riveron, the head of officiating. After much deliberation and input from coaches, players, NFL legends, and club executives, the NFL competition committee recommended the following language to simplify a catch at the annual meeting next week. Recommendations on the catch for a rule: control, 2 feet down or any other body part, in a football move such as a third step, reaching or extending for the line to gain, or the ability to perform such an act. Okay. It's, how do I put it? It's just one of those NFL, one of those NFL things where they just decide that they want to make everything seem like they're fixing something, but not. While the simplifying it is going to make it easy, the basic test is the basic standard that you should use is if average Joe person in the bar could say that was a catch, then it was a catch. I like that mentality, and that's what they're trying to go for here, but I just don't think they're going to get there on it. So let's go forward here. Um, all right, so scroll through, and I'm using information from SB Nation, as well as the NFL's own site. So I'm actually popping over to the NFL or the SB Nation site here, and they're saying under the new rule, plays like Jesse James's catch would be a catch, but that's not all. On Monday, Riveron clarified three often, as in oft debated non-touchdowns that would have been catches under the new proposal. This is the moment at which Dez Bryant would be considered to have completed the process under the NFL's new rules. And this is a tweet from Tom Pelissero. And I'm actually going to pull up the picture and I'm going to share it here on my screen. So this is a picture of Al Riveron giving the explanation on Monday. Okay, so that makes sense that these things would be now ruled catches versus not catches, but I was hoping it would actually show the actual play, like the full play, but it is not. So we'll move forward. Going back to SB Nation, Al Riveron says the Zach Miller play would have been a touchdown under the new rule too, and so is the Calvin Benjamin play. And if you've forgotten the Benjamin play, it took 4 points off the scoreboard of the Bills' eventual loss to the Patriots Week 16. Here, I'll share my screen. You can see the video from CBS and coming from the NFL. Again, this is on Sports or SB Nation. So there you go. All right. Also approved. Officials allowed the opportunity to eject players after replay. So let's read what SB Nation has to say about that. The competition committee has put forth a proposal that would give referees the opportunity to eject a player after reviewing a play. Rob Gronkowski's late hit that concussed Tre'Davious White is the most recent example of a case where this would have been implemented. The NFL Network's Ian Rappaport mentioned on Tuesday that the rule is expected to bring more ejections and, as a result, less suspensions. Okay, not approved. Limiting early. Oh, so this is cool. SB Nation's breaking down all the rules that were up before and all the things that were put forth. So again, not approved. Limiting early East Coast kickoffs for West Coast teams. The 49ers, Cardinals, and Chargers have proposed a limitation on early East Coast kickoffs. They are forced to play each season. This rule is not approved. and this is a grade article. Basically, they're going through each rule, grading it, etc. They gave the catch an A. They gave the replay ejections how to put it, an A. So, but they gave the grade a D on this one, and they're saying that the time difference is a pain in the butt for West Coast teams, especially if, for example, you're the Seahawks traveling a great distance to somewhere such as New York or Miami. But you'll notice that the Seahawks aren't the one who put forth this rule. It's not that they probably don't think it's fair or unfair. They just realize that, it's part of the game. We'll just tough it out. But I also, as a fan, agree that, having that 10 a.m. start for us here on the West Coast, is brutal on the body clock. I don't know how many people travel coast to coast or even, basically 3 time zones. Here, with daylight savings going on here in Washington right now, we are at the same time as Phoenix. However, right now we're 3 hours ahead of Hawaii. So if you're, just imagine, you're a Hawaii team and you're coming here to play, a 1 p.m. Pacific time game, that's 10 a.m. your time. That's going to kill your body clock. It's one of those rules or one of those proposals that I'm just like, yeah, it needs to be done, but at the same time, you're paid to play a game. You've been doing this for how many years now? You can adjust. If your team needs to leave a day or two ahead so give you more acclimated to the time, then they need to do that. Work out arrangements with local colleges or high schools to practice on their fields for that extra day or whatever you need. Bring long film study or whatever. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Teams have to make this work too. But I understand their point because, again, coming the opposite way, you don't have 10 a.m. Pacific start times for football games over here for those East Coast teams coming, east to west. They're basically just getting the added benefit of having a late home game. That 4 o'clock to 4:25 Eastern time start time. So, I mean, I don't know. Just is what it is. So, approved eliminating the requirement that the team who scores the winning touchdown at the end of regulation has to kick an extra point or go for 2. This has little change except for maybe for Vegas. There's a case for and a case against the change. Basically, what they're saying is that if time runs out and you score the game-winning touchdown, rather than forcing the team to kick an extra point, you just win. I see nothing wrong with that. That's one less play that the players are going to be injured on. Potentially injured on, I should say. So that's good. All right. All right. Not approved allowing teams to hire a head coach who's still in the midst of a playoff run. Remember how the Colts had to wait till the end of the Patriots Super Bowl appearance to hire Josh McDaniels, only for the New England offensive coordinator to turn around and to decide, never mind? Well, if this new resolution proposal were to be passed, then teams wouldn't have to be that patient. They could hire their head coaching choice, even if he's still working for a team in the postseason. Unfortunately, for future teams trying to pry assistance, it is being tabled for this time. Oh, Judy Bautista. I forgot about this tweet. The so-called Josh McDaniels rule. It's one of those I understand why NFL teams don't want their coaching staff while they're in the midst of playoff run to be pilfered. Because now you're taking your coach's prep time away from them. You're taking their focus of the game away from them and moving them to do something else. And then once they're hired, it's like, well, it doesn't matter what I do now. Although if I were the owner and I was hiring a new head coach that was in the playoff run and be like, you better do your best to win that Super Bowl, or I'm going to question your motivation, that type of thing. But yeah. So all right. Yeah, let's see here. They moved the touchback resulting from a free kick to the 25-yard line. So if you let the ball roll into the end zone, or if the punter actually has a great leg and it's a touchback, then you get it out at the 25-yard line. Illegally batting and or kicking the ball are now the same penalty, basically. Authorizes a designated member of the officiating department to instruct on game. This is the one I was talking about. This was approved. The competition committee and the NFL owners authorized the designated member of the officiating department to instruct on-field game officials to disqualify a player for a flagrant non-football act when a foul for that act is called on the field. So say the game's getting heated and a player punches another player. Or trips. Let's go with trip. Like, it comes up from behind him and just trips him. They can get called for that. If they can get called for a penalty like unsportsmanlike conduct, etc., personal foul. But now they can also then be kicked out because of basically intent. So, all right. Let's see here. By a competition committee in overtime, if the team that possesses the ball first scores a field goal on its initial possession, and the second team loses possession by an interception or fumble, the down will be permitted to run to its conclusion, including the awarding points scored by either team during that down. So, if on let's say the Seahawks score a field goal on their first possession in overtime over the Cardinals, let's just say, and all of a sudden the Cardinals quarterback throws an interception to Earl Thomas, and Earl Thomas sees that he has a lane to go and score a touchdown, and he goes and scores it. Not only is the play not over when he catches that interception, he doesn't have to go down. He can actually try to run the ball. Now, similarly, if say he does catch the ball, starts running, and it gets fumbled out of him. He fumbles it, and somebody picks up, and they run it back for a touchdown for the Cardinals. The Cardinals win, and they get the points awarded on that play too. So that's pretty cool. All right. A few other things were that they allowed reserve players to be traded, injured reserve, things like that. They've also allowed them to they're allowed to have clubs that are interested in a player that's been cut or released but doesn't apply to the waiver program can actually be talked to by basically can be contacted by an interested team. Excuse me, sorry. So, for example, see the Seahawks cut Cam Chancellor, and it hasn't posted to the NFL personnel notice, then he can actually go to another team as soon as the employer club announces the players being as soon as the players employing club announces the release. So yeah, that's just one of those. I think it's pretty good. And also in the postseason, the claiming period goes from 10 days to 24 hours. So that's actually pretty good. Wow. The new Rams stadium is gonna cost about 4.9, basically $5 billion. Wow. And John Gruden's got it right. Um, instant replay, everything looks like a penalty. Alright. Anyways, that's kinda where I just wanna talk about the football stuff is just, with the league rules coming up at the league meetings this last week, it's just something interesting to talk about. You know, Major League Baseball. This was actually probably one of my favorites of the sports season is opening day. Getting the opportunity to actually have the sorry, uh, it's a great it's America's pastime. Even though football is quite a bit more popular, there's just something about the summertime and being able to go to the ballpark, watch a game, have hot dogs, peanuts, beer, whatever. And it all started last night with the Mariners winning their first game. Now, it's still early in the season. I get it. It's the Mariners. I don't want to rain on our own parade, but we have to. Um, we basically have to be aware. Let's see here. So, how the heck do they figure the? I mean, it's one game, so I'm not too worried about it. But how the heck do they figure that? Three teams in our division, the AL West, win. It goes Houston, Oakland, Seattle. I suppose because Houston and Oakland um, beat AL West opponents, so I'm good with that. I was hoping it was more like runs scored versus whatever, but I haven't seen the scores of the other two games, so no. Yeah, 4-1, 6-5, 2-1. So yeah, makes sense. So have a game today? Team by team schedule. Oh, too far. All right. Yeah, no game today for the Mariners. Not a bad deal. When it comes to baseball, everybody either loves it or hates it. It is what I'm finding when I talk to people. It's like, oh, it's baseball. It sucks. It's slow. It's boring. Blah blah blah. And many of them haven't been to an actual baseball game. They haven't gone to feel with the electricity of the crowd. I mean, the same thing with football. People talk about, sports, watching sports on TV sucks. It's boring. It's not great. If that's the case, go watch a game. I mean, heck, I would much rather go watch a game than to actually sit there and watch it on TV. However, money being tight, not always the greatest, but I think we all should benefit from it. We should all base our fandom on the fact that we should try to go to a game a season, if not more, if you can afford it. I mean, the whole reason we do not have an NBA team here in Seattle anymore is because we, as fans, didn't want to pay through the city via taxes, and most of the taxes are coming from people outside of this city, outside of the state. But we didn't want to pay to renovate our stadium. We didn't want to pay to have a new stadium built. So what happens? The owners for the Sonics, because they're losing, not making a profit, decide to sell the team. Oh yeah, we'll keep the team here. Blah blah blah. Nope. Now they're the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay. Well, until we can get our acts together and act together as a city and a state, then let's not make the whole burden on Seattle. Let's make it a statewide. People come all over to to visit the state for various reasons. You know, some people come to Olympia for Hemp Fest and things like that. Let's spread the hotel tax around the state. Let's spread the cost of this new arena that they're trying to build in SoDo and all that to make it not just Seattle's burden, but the rest of us that do go and watch it. Heck, if I have to pay a little bit more in a tax to pay for season tickets for NHL or which we haven't had in forever, or even NBA basketball, then great, I'll pay a little bit extra. It'll be fine. Doesn't mean that we're it doesn't mean that it should all just be on the city of Seattle. We as fans all should help pay for it, not just the ticket sales, but everything else. So it is what it is. And just so you guys see, this is the Rode PSA 1 mic mount, boom mic mount. Getting a little tired of having that bar right here and limiting my hand movements and doing stuff. So I figured this way I can at least use my hands a little bit more. Not even seeing what I'm supposed to be seeing. But I can see, I can do things. Yeah, I can still hit it. Still working on the placement of the bass because what I really have it, I just have it attached to a little table right now, a little side table. I need something with a little more weight on it to counterbalance it. But it is what it is. It's just a little bit. And heck, it's sports season now. I mean, it's summertime. It's summer baseball, well, spring baseball, but still. Little league starting up. If you got kids, get them into the t-ball. Get them into youth leagues. Do it if they want to, but remember this: youth sports is nothing to get angry about. Youth sports is nothing to worry about. It's not all about winning. It's not all about losing. It's about the kids having fun and doing it. Hold on just a second here. Okay, so basically just we need to, as family and parents and whatnot, remember that these kids are out there to have fun. It's not about winning or losing. It's not about any of that. We have to support them. You want your kid to become, a major league pitcher. You want them to become a center fielder. You want them to be a quarterback. You want them to be whatever. Make it fun for them at first. So that way, when it comes time to, they really want to be that, that's when this starts to become, gotta get down, drill down on the basics, those types of things. And that's something you do at home. You don't berate your child. You don't berate any child at a game in front of all of those people. It's going to embarrass the heck out of them, and it's going to make life miserable for them. They're not going to want to play the sport. They're not going to want to continue playing the sport if we keep doing that to them. I don't have any children of my own. It's easy for me to sit here and say this because I'm not the one shelling out the money for, uniforms, gloves, bats, things like that. But I also remember growing up and not being able to necessarily afford those things. Now, I didn't express interest. I mean, my parents will be the first to tell you. I didn't express interest in wanting to play youth baseball at all. The first time and only time I played organized baseball, as far as actual baseball, was my senior year of high school. It's the only time I've ever played organized baseball. Now, I played church league softball and stuff like that before and since. It's not the end of the world. But it's just never been it was never my thing. And I kind of wish I had been forced into doing it, but at the same time, I'm glad I wasn't. I just wish I wish I could have done it, you know? It's one of the little regrets in my life that I have, you know? But it is what it is. So just remember, guys, you know, we're out here with our kids, with our families. We want to be out there and have fun. We want the kids to have fun. Yes, I don't agree with participation trophies. I think that's a bad idea. But at the same time, I also think that we don't need to make it so miserable for them to not want to actually play the sport ever again. So, let me know what you guys think, you know, as far as that, especially with, you know, youth baseball about to start up again in most areas, if not already. You know, whether it be baseball, fast pitch, softball, um, even youth flag football leagues start going again soon. Before you know it, football will be around. You know, think about think about the youth sports in general and how that it affects all of us. You know, as people who go to watch them. You know, I know one of my young nieces on my side of the family plays basketball. I don't know if she's actually going to be playing t-ball or anything like that. Um, heck, I've got April's coming up, so my youngest niece is now going to be a year old at the end of April. So when she gets older in a few years, is she going to want to play sports? I have a nephew. God, I can't remember when he was born. I want to say it was December. I want to say something like that, November, December timeframe. Can't remember exactly, but still, when he's old enough, is he going to want to play sports? You know, how do we as family support those people, support those kids? How do we support our brothers and sisters in this? How do the grandparents basically help support this? You know, yes, we want we want to see our children and grandchildren succeed. We want to see them move on in life. We want to see our nieces and nephews do well. But just remember, they're playing a game. It's not life or death. It's not like they're playing for the World Series and they're going to choke and lose. No, that's not what they need. They need encouragement. Oh, hey, you missed that. Well, just buck up, you know, get it next time. Try to motivate them, try to help them understand that there is more to it than that. So, alrighty. Well, I am done for today. This has really just been a test to see how this is all sounding. Um, trying one other thing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to try it right now. So I'm going to plug my headphones in to my phone again. Hopefully my phone is still operating. And my phone died right in the middle when I needed it. Okay. Well, hopefully it works. I'll just listen to it. I'll listen to the playback later. All right. So we're going to go start up my iTunes really quick. What I'm just going to be doing is playing my intro music and seeing how it sounds going through here. If I remember correctly, I had to have that pretty low. What I'm trying to prevent from doing is not have, since I only do things through the one computer, trying to have everything work properly. So let's get that pulled up here. I don't want to get a copyright, so none of those will do. All right, so here we go. Taking off. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your baseball. It's Good Friday. Passover starts tonight, I believe. Tonight, at least for tomorrow for sure. And then, yeah. Enjoy Easter. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great one. Yeah, I'm still going.